I had looked for someone to build my chopper for me, and I had checked different places, and I'd always get people that say, well, that's not in style, or it takes too much time, or it's too much money. I had asked around, and I had heard that Dakota Kustomz was the place for me to go.
Right away, we set the frame out in the front end, kind of just laid it on the table so I can kind of take it all in, and I'm kind of envisioning things in my head. I'm kind of already how I wanted to build this, and he's a Southern boy, so his accent is real Southern, and so it's kind of cool just to hear him talk. And he's like, man, all I know is I want this thing to look like an old badass chopper. And I'm like, well, of course, man, like that's what we do, and I have no problem. I can handle that.
Yes, it took about 3 years to get my front end. Of course, the best front end is Sugar Bear. I bothered Sugar Bear. I sent him emails and give him the little crybaby stories. I got the idea from Easy Rider magazine. And there was a picture in there with this one chopper. It was perfect. I loved the bike. I loved the rake. I loved everything about the bike. And this one, I took a picture and I saved it for years, and then I shared it with Travis. When we decided to build this bike, Travis had, he asked me, he said, give me all the ideas you want.
The only recommendation I got, and the only thing we got to do is lots of chrome. And I said, not gonna happen. And that's pretty much how the conversation started. And he turned around, he looked at me, and he's like, what? And I said, not gonna do it. I said, I'm not putting chrome on this bike, at least not a lot of chrome.
My first impression of Travis, that he was young, that maybe he was too young to build the type of bike that I wanted.
And I said, here's my thing. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do brass. I want big raked out front end. It's king and queen seat, and it's, to me, like my vision is brass.
He was talking about brass. And I really didn't like that idea until I seen it. And then I thought, oh, okay, he knows what he's doing.
I was just like, hey man, if you want me to do this, you gotta have faith in me, and you gotta just let me do my thing. So you could tell like he really wasn't probably quite happy about it, but he has to trust me if that's where it comes down to.
I go to Sturgis Rally a lot every year for years. And I've noticed nobody wants to be creative. Everybody, it just looks like everyone just went into the same store, bought the same bike. They try to put speakers bigger than the bike. Nobody likes to ride anymore. They're not trying to impress no one. That's just what I wanted to build, a 1970s chopper.
The first thing I did is I ordered up a shovel head replica. So it's like a newer V-twin bottom end with a shovel head top end. And I ordered that, and the first thing I did is I started ordering, just like figuring out how I can accommodate a bunch of brass into this thing. First things first is like start changing out the nuts and the bolts, and we started making the oil lines. Today's bike world isn't what it used to be 15 years ago. I remember building bikes even back then that it's like the distributors that you were associated with, the books were 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick, and the stuff that you could get was unreal. And now it's just like you could put all the vendors together and get a book that's like 3 inches thick. Like people hardly carry anything anymore. So now you have to make a lot of the stuff, and it's hard because even just some of your basic easy bolt-on stuff that you need as far as like spacers or anything just to get your offsets and everything to work, you would think like everybody has them in their books, but you can't get them. It's back ordered, discontinued, unavailable, no ETA. We end up making a lot for this bike just for that aspect.